What's up, Fancy Fam? Welcome back to my channel, guys. If you're new here, I'm Ashley, CEO of The Fancy Firm, a full-service interior design business. I am also a licensed realtor and real estate investor. So, I recently asked my fancy friends, fam, and followers what real estate questions they've been dying to get answered, and a bunch of people submitted questions. I picked a few, and now here we are ready to answer them. So, let's get started. Question number 1. Okay, so someone said, how did you start and what is your story? So my story, the short version, I have always been in love with all things creative. I am a natural creative. I went to SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design, for a year for fashion, merchandise, and management. I quickly decided school was not my vibe and I am not into all the debt that comes with it. So interior design was always kind of my backup plan, but I always thought that I needed to go to art school to pursue it. And if anyone knows anything about art school, it is super time consuming and super expensive. So I eventually dropped out of college. I went on to work in childcare, actually. I love kids. Do not have any of my own yet. But I was an infant toddler Montessori teacher for a couple years. I then went on to nanny for a few more years, and at that time I quickly decided that I was not into raising other people's kids, and I knew that while I was still young I wanted to create something for myself that could, be passed on to the next generation. And when I had my kids, I would have a flexible schedule and I would be able to take care of them. So I ended up going to one of these big name, like you hear on the radio, free 2-day boot camp to come learn real estate investing. Went, it was BS. And then I ended up finding my mentor online the night before his Flipology 101 boot camp. And I was like, okay, I have nothing else to lose. Let me just go ahead and take this course and see what it's about. So I went and I ended up loving it. Unlike some of these other gurus that I had heard about, he wasn't like standing on a stage talking at you for hours at a time. Instead, he brought in the experts. So he brought in hard money lenders, closing attorneys, realtors, stagers, all these different people that you need to make, your career in real estate investing successful. You were able to network with them. And then the second day we went on a boot camp where you saw some active fix and flips. You got some real hands-on in the field experience. And that for me is huge. I'm big on just put me in a situation, show me one time how to do it, and then I'll put my spin on it and I can take it from there. So getting the hands-on experience was huge for me, and from there I decided to mentor with him. We still work together to this day, 3.5 years later, and it has been amazing ever since. So that's how I got started in real estate investing. When I first came into it, I did still have a full-time nanny job, and I was just wholesaling. That was kind of my in. I was still young, no real credit, no money out of my pocket, so that was just an opportunity for me to kind of learn the game, get a little skin in the game, and build my clientele, build my network, and from there I have just created other streams of income out of it, other avenues for myself, and created the Fancy Firm. Alright, so question number 2. What are the pros and cons of the industry, and is this a great time to start? Ooh. It is always a great time to start. The sooner the better. Essentially, most people get into real estate investing because they want to create some sort of generational wealth. They want to create, multiple streams of income, and there's so many opportunities in real estate, and that's one of the best, or one of the pros, I would say. You can wholesale, you can be a realtor, you can fix and flip, you can buy and hold, you can, like myself, be a designer, you can be a contractor, you can have passive income. Like, there's so many avenues, and you don't have to pick just one, and I think that's one of the best pros. It also allows you a ton of freedom, flexibility with time. You can do real estate in all different states. You can do it out the country. So I would say one of the pros is there's just so much opportunity. You are not limited really at what you can do. It's really based on what you put in is what you get out. So whatever work ethic you have, if you give 110%, you're gonna get 110% out of it. And I think that's really one of the best parts about it. One of the cons, I would say, it's somewhat a calculated risk. So, you know, not everything you put your time and energy into is going to give you a return right away. Sometimes it might take, you know, months or years to see your return. Sometimes, you know, deals fall apart all the time. Things happen, you lose money, but essentially it really is a great business to be in because, you know, it allows you so much opportunity. You know, you meet some amazing people, and there's just a lot that you can do with it. So I would say yes, now is an amazing time to start. So question number 3. Where should I begin if I'm a newbie in this business? So that actually kind of ties into question number 2. I would highly suggest getting a mentor, but please guys, when you get a mentor, do not think you're just gonna hit them up like, let me take you to lunch and pick your brain, because that is so played. We get it all the time, and nobody's gonna just be out here giving you free game, because truly anyone who you're probably looking up to mentor you has put time, has put money, has lost, has gained, and been through so much in order to get where they are. So they're not just gonna give you all this free game. So instead, approach it in a position of value. How can I bring value to this person that's essentially gonna bring value to me? Maybe they need to outsource, you know, something that they're not very good at or don't have time to. Maybe you're that person that they outsource to. So essentially, maybe your time is exchanged for their knowledge. Maybe you're paying for their coaching service. There's a ton of ways that you can approach it in order to benefit the both parties. So you have to make sure you're not the only one trying to benefit off of everything that they've learned, experienced, and paid for. Because, you know, even their mistakes and stuff have been costly, I guarantee you. So they're not just gonna be like, here is everything I learned on a silver platter. So outside of a mentor, YouTube, honestly, so many people I know, a lot of my friends even put free game on YouTube. You can learn a ton from that. I mean, Google, like, I wouldn't say obviously you can't Google everything, but that's a start. Like, if you have no idea where to begin, try first. Like, try to learn some sort of information before you expect everyone to just give you all the knowledge that they have, you know? There are a ton of meetups, RIAs, free networking events here in Atlanta. My team does a few, so if there's any that you want to visit, hit me up and I'll definitely share some of those with you. I would say there are a ton of like Facebook groups that people share information in. So I would say just use your resources and network. Your network is truly your net worth, and you never know who you're gonna meet, and you can really learn a little bit from everyone. Number 4, can I invest with little money? Yes, you can. So again, there are like a lot of different ways that you can get into real estate investing. One of the most cost-effective ways are obviously wholesaling, where you're essentially finding off-market deals and then you're selling them for a small fee to an investor who's going to either fix and flip or buy and hold it. That's probably one of the easiest ways to get in with very little money. And what little money you do have, you can spend on marketing to find more deals, on marketing to grow your cash buyers list. So that's one way. The second way, I would say, you could always partner with people. So we do sometimes group projects, or sometimes, you know, there are higher name people who will kind of partner with you to teach you along the way. And maybe your money, you know, can be a down payment for a hard money loan, or you know, something to help carry the note each month. So you can use your cash to leverage and couple it with hard money, and then essentially, you know, get the funds you need to invest, if that makes sense. So you can start with little money. You just have to figure out where is the best way to delegate your money depending on your exit strategy. Okay, number 5. How likely is it that banks will lend to someone under 25 looking to invest, or is age not a factor? So to my knowledge, age is not a factor. I know you can get your real estate license at like 17, 18. So if you can practice real estate, I know you can buy. I think you just have to be over 18 if I'm not mistaken, and just have the proper credentials. So most people, you just need like either a hard money loan or a traditional loan. you need like tax returns and or bank statements, you need like job, you know, W-2s and stuff like that. So as long as you have that, age really isn't a factor. I know some pretty young people that have invested before and are still investing. So to my knowledge, age is not a factor. It's just a matter of finding the right lender and meeting their criteria, and they will lend to you as long as the project works. And if you are even younger than 18, then just partner with someone who is older. You know, they might get the funds and you contribute how you can, and then together, you know, you make it work. Truly, collaboration in this business is huge. Whether you're a newbie, working with someone experienced, young versus old, however you need to do it, collaboration will take you very far. So yes, you can get funding if you are under 25, which is crazy because people lend you money, but they won't rent you a car at 25. It's so funny, but yes, you can. Okay, 6. As a first-time home buyer, should I buy a duplex or go big with a quad? Great question and great mentality. So yeah, I think any buyer, if you're gonna live in a house and you have the potential to buy multifamily, is gonna be amazing for you. And this is why. Say I have a duplex, I might live in one side and rent out the other side. I can make my rent on this side high enough to pay my mortgage on this side, and then I essentially live for free, which is genius, right? So one of the first things you do when you buy traditionally, or regardless, when you buy, is get pre-approved for a loan. So really it's going to depend on how much you get pre-approved for. If I can get pre-approved for enough that I can buy a quad, then go for it. That just means you have 3 additional, you know, rental incomes to your one mortgage. And then not only are you living for free, but then you have more capital to either, you know, invest in something else, you know, save for whatever projects you have coming in along, or save for incidentals. It's just more cash flow you have coming in. So if you can afford to do so, if you're approved for the right amount and that mortgage isn't going to knock you over the head, then I would say do it. Go big or go home. You essentially have the opportunity to live free and, you know, have some passive income. So go. Question number 7. Ooh, what are some of your everyday struggles and how do you overcome them? Ooh, okay. So in real estate in general, you will, how do I put this? You'll hear a lot of no's sometimes, and that can be discouraging. You know, I just recently posted about some contracts that I had terminated or delayed, and sometimes that can be a little overwhelming, or you feel like you've been working on this for so long, only for it to be terminated or not work out. And unfortunately, in this business, you put a lot of your time, your money, and effort first in order to seek the return, and that's where the calculated risks come in. And sometimes that can be discouraging because you feel like you're spending a lot of time and money on things and you're not seeing the return you want. And it's just overwhelming sometimes. Like, you're dealing with a lot of people to get transactions to the closing table. You're dealing with, you know, a lot of different personalities. And I myself have a strong personality. So sometimes when those clash, like, that can be a lot. Being an entrepreneur, you, again, you know, put forth a lot in hopes to get some return. You are working 80 hours to essentially not work 40 hours like a normal person. So some of your personal life definitely goes out the window. You sacrifice a lot, you know, in order to follow your dreams. And that's kind of just a price you pay in order to gain success. So I would say some of those are my struggles. Like, I just struggle with, like, time for myself. You know, I've lost a lot of friends and, you know, people that didn't really understand the journey that I'm on, and that's fine. Like, I don't expect everyone to understand my vision because it's not theirs. It's not, you know, for them to understand. But at the end of the day, I know that I am where I am for a reason, and I am exactly where I should be, and I am a firm believer that what's meant for me will not miss me. What's crazy is when I first got into this business, I went to a lot of networking events, I heard a lot of people speak, and one thing they always spoke on was mindset. And I used to be like, sounds good, but what does that have to do with anything, you know? And I thought it was just like this talk, you know, everyone's trying to be inspiring, but it's really true. Your mindset is really everything, because that will take you from why am I going through this to what is this trying to teach me. And I promise, as soon as I flipped my mindset to what is this trying to teach me, the game changed for me. There's not one single successful person, no matter what your definition of success is, there's not one single successful person I know that got where they are without any sort of struggle. Nothing you want out of life is going to be handed to you, especially not success. You essentially have to go through some struggle and you cannot skip it. And sometimes I have to check myself. In real life, I'm 26 years old and I spend every single day doing what I love to do. And not everyone is afforded that luxury, and not everyone is willing to put forth the effort to create that for themselves. So really, I'm already winning. You know, I remind myself that every day there are people that are way worse off than me. There are people that have it way worse than I do. And I try not to dwell on whatever is, you know, kind of getting to me at that moment. So yeah, I always just remember to stay grateful, stay prayed up. I remember that tough times never last. Tough people definitely do though. Everything is a learning lesson and it only gets better from there. All right, question number 8. What's the craziest thing you've experienced in a real estate transaction? Holy shit. Honestly, I have experienced some crazy stuff. Ooh, okay, so I just got through with a property that had this mysterious $38,000 water bill, and that's actually not the first time that happened to me. I've had that happen before, and we couldn't close that deal because the seller would not figure out what the issue was or where the water came from. Essentially, a seller has to settle any debts or liens before they can transfer the property to the next owner, and the last one didn't want to do that. This current property that I just closed on, that one had the same issue, but it was bank-owned seller. They worked it out. We were able to close it, but that was probably one of the craziest things on a traditional side, because who the hell has a $38,000 water bill? Like, where does that even come from? What? So that, I'm working on a short sale that is so stressful. I'm gonna do a separate story time on that, because that shit, listen, a shit show, okay? And investing, honestly, we see so much crazy shit in investing. Like, we go into houses that, like, you'll walk in, like, people lived here, you know, like the condition of it. You know, we've had like squatters in homes, we've found animals, we've found we've found bloody knives in houses. Like, the list goes on. And that's why I love documenting, because literally every project and every experience is so crazy that I'm like, and it's so crazy because I need someone that just follows me around with a camera all the time, honestly, because the real good shit is never caught on camera. Like, when I open a door and like freaking bugs come rushing out like in an army, and I hate bugs, and I'm like screaming at the top of my lungs. There's so many stories. Oh, so many stories. But I'm gonna make sure I capture more of them on video, and they're related to each project, and I document them, because some of the stuff, unless you saw it for yourself, you would not believe me, honest. Number 9, what's your favorite design project you've done so far? Ooh. So I would say my favorite one that's been completed is probably Cruella, Westview. And that was the one we did the black and white vibe. And it's probably one of my favorites because it had such a major transformation, and I learned so much on that project. Like, it was a complete learning lesson. It ended up taking like 7 months. We honestly rebuilt probably 80% of the house. From the roof to the foundation to rebricking the front. If you guys have not seen that, part 1 is up, and part 2, don't get me started on why it's so delayed, but part 2 should be up very soon. But you'll see the major transformation in that video, and honestly, that was probably one of my favorites so far. I think the design concept was super unique. I got a lot of compliments on that. I did this really cool chevron ombre towel, which I ended up loving. I did a lot of statement black, which I also love. So that was probably one of my favorites that's been completed. I have about 5 or 6 more I'm working on right now, but they're all in different stages. 3 of them are on pause for permit issues, which is a whole nother story for a whole nother day, but I'm really into the ones that I'm working on now too, and I'm excited about those. So those videos will be coming in the future. But yeah, Westview was probably one of my favorites, for sure. Last question. What are some of your words of encouragement for people who need motivation and inspiration to keep going? I would say whatever motivated you to start is going to be what has to motivate you to finish. Stick to it. Whatever you're going through is meant to teach you something. It's going to help you to grow and get to the next level. You are made for this. Whatever it is that's in your heart, that burning desire, that purpose, that passion, that drive, it's in you for a reason. Use your God-given gift, your God-given talent to propel you to the next level. It's in you for a reason. It's not by mistake. Nothing happens by coincidence. And you are exactly where you need to be right now. Don't rush it. Trust the process and stay prayed up and know that you're gonna win in the end. I'm claiming it for you. I'm claiming it for me. I'm claiming it for all of us. Nothing but winners. It's 2019. Stay focused. Put your foot on their necks and keep going. Keep winning. Keep succeeding. You got this. You got this. Alright guys, that was the end of my video. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to those who participated and sent in your questions. I do appreciate it. While you're here though, if you have not already, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Join the fancy fam so you don't miss out, and I promise there are more videos to come. I will do better about my posting schedule. I'm gonna get a little bit of routine, but these projects, they're coming. They're coming. In the meantime, while projects are loading, let me know what kind of videos you guys want to see in the interim, and I'll make sure that I film some. Thanks guys, see you later.